Hello guys, today I prepared the most interesting game for you. This was a game played by Billy Sharp and Anumakaar, two amateur chess players that were playing online chess on chess.com. Billy Sharp is rated around 1900 and Anumakaar around 1800. The occasion was a rapid tournament, so this is a 15-minute game. And the opening in this game is the King's Gambit. But unlike from the previous video I showed you where the opening was also the King's Gambit, here we have two players that were playing much more accurately, and although this game is also pretty double-edged and pretty sharp, still we will see that the players here played reasonably well and made little mistakes. Billy Sharp is the guy who provided me with this game, and I thank him for that. Thank you, Billy, for giving me a chance to comment on your game. And I would also like to congratulate you because I think you really played a beautiful game here. Billy actually said that this is the best game he ever played in his life, and I must agree, this truly is a good game, a beautiful game. So let's see why. It starts off with e4, e5. We have the King's Gambit on the board, and black now accepts the gambit. So standard stuff for now, and we now have a Becker defense. That's the approach black takes here in dealing with the King's Gambit. He plays the Becker defense. White castles, and now pushing the pawn on g5. So a really aggressive plan by black. He's playing on a flank, he's taking up as much space as he can. Black, on the other hand, is playing in the center. He's taking as much space in the center as he can. So he's strengthening up his center, and black is playing on the flank. Who will be better? Black develops the bishop, further protecting the center, developing both knights, and now Billy pushes h4. He wants to destroy this pawn chain so he can take this pawn eventually. That's the plan for Billy. He wants to weaken this pawn. And what if black pushes the pawn now? Well, then Billy would have to retreat with his knight here, and probably that would be a bit awkward for Billy here, but he would still manage to play this because he's protecting this square with 3 times with his pieces. So it wouldn't be lost for Billy if black played this way. Black, on the other hand, didn't push the pawn further. He played knight to g6. He's hoping maybe that white will now foolishly push his own pawn so he can put his knight on a good outpost here. But Billy didn't play this move. Billy continued with his plan. He first pushed a4, and after black decided to pin this knight by the queen. The pin didn't last it for long because Billy moved his queen. Now black finally castles, and Billy takes the pawn. So he destroyed the chain a bit, but now the chain can be renewed by taking back. Still, the plan for Sharp here is to weaken the king's position, to open up the king. He wants to remove as many pawns as possible from here. Black first plays knight on a5. He's attacking both the bishop and the queen. Now this is the situation where white will lose his bishop. A bit of unfortunate, but nothing terrible. He moves the queen, and now he's relieved of his bishop. Takes back with the knight. Now black gives his own bishop away because he thought this knight here was really reasonable. White retakes with the rook, and now black takes the pawn and renews this pawn chain here on the flank. And this is his trump card, so to say. He would like these pawns eventually to go down and become queens. White now takes the pawn on b7. Is this a risky move? Is this dangerous? Now improving the position of the knight. And now white is offering a queen trade. Here Billy actually played a move, maybe the only move, I would say, the only mistake Billy made in this game was this move. Because he's offering a queen trade in a position where he's actually worse. So Stockfish evaluates this position as minus 1.1. So black is better in this position. And black is better because his pawns here are connected and this pawn isn't connected. And also black has a more active position in this situation because this bishop is closed. The bishop is inactive by white, and also this bishop could eventually become very dangerous on this position. So black has a more active position and a better position, and that's why the queen trade now wasn't a smart way to continue, but Billy made only one mistake in this game, so let's forgive him for that. Everything else was perfect. Luckily for Billy, black didn't accept the queen trade here, and he should have. That was a mistake from black. He played queen to d6, and this is actually the biggest mistake black made in this game. Why? Because now white took the pawn, and okay, now black can retake the knight, but that doesn't mean anything because white queen can take this knight also. And this pawn will fall eventually, and the strong pawn chain that was here is now gone, and the black's king is now potentially in a big danger. So the position of black's king isn't as safe as it was before, because there are no more pawns in front of him. So a mistake from black. Black took the knight now. White also replied. And now this was maybe the plan black had. He had a plan to attack white's queen, and he thought he can put immense pressure on this file and eventually do stuff with his rook here. And also he wanted to take this pawn with the rook. So now black retreated on d7, another inaccuracy by Billy Sharp. The better move here was to play queen here, because now you pin the bishop and you attack this pawn 3 times. So that was a better move by Billy here, but okay, he played queen on d7, and now black took the pawn. If we count the material here, we will see that the material is equal, but most of players maybe would say here, especially players who are not so experienced, that black has a more active position here, because his two minor pieces, two biggest pieces are attacking the king. They're going down to the king. And here, if we look at white's position, it's fine, but it doesn't look so menacing. But I must say that's only that isn't actually the real situation here, because Stockfish evaluates this position as better for white. And why is that? Probably Stockfish sees that white can easily defend from all the stuff that will happen on this line, and Stockfish sees that white will eventually take this pawn, this weak pawn, and eventually that this pawn will also fall, probably, and then white will be better. But white has to play accurately and has to play solid defense. And Billy really played phenomenally from here. Let's see how. First he took the pawn, because it's a free pawn. If you believe it, or not, it is a free pawn. It looks maybe dangerous, but it isn't. Now, black doubled up. Most of players will be scared here, but not Billy. He calmly puts his rook on f1, further protects the king. Black goes down and wants to exchange rooks, which doesn't really suit him here. It isn't the right plan for black. Because now, in this position, white is better. White is up a pawn, and black shouldn't exchange rooks now. But he played this move anyway. White took the rook, black gave check, and maybe black thought he has something here. But Billy calmly retreated with his king on h2, and as it turns out, this is a pretty safe square for white's king. Now, the best move here recommended by Stockfish is this. Stockfish says black should go back with his rook and eventually maybe threaten some ideas of check here. But even in this variation, black would still be worse and wouldn't have any reasonable attack on white's king. But it would be a more solid approach, and maybe with perfect play and with some inaccuracies by white, black could hold this for a draw easily. But of course, if white wouldn't play perfect. But black didn't play this move. Black played another inaccuracy here, another idea that doesn't really work out for him. He put his rook on an f1. So he's offering another rook trade here. I'm not sure, maybe here black was low on time, or maybe white was low on time. I didn't discuss this with Billy. Maybe white was low on time and black tried to just confuse white here and play as fast as possible. So, luckily for Billy, he stayed incredibly concentrated here, and this finish Billy played is beautiful. I'm sure you will enjoy it. It all starts off with queen to c8. First a check. And why is this move? Because now king has to retreat on h7 and queen can give another check. And queen can come to a great square now. King goes back, and what now? Do you see the plan now for white? Do you see the winning move in this position? Because there is the winning move here that Stockfish recommends. It's a beautiful, elegant move, a silent move, but a winning move. It reminds a bit of Karpov in a way, if you know who is Anatoly Karpov, and you of course know. It's such positionally strong move and also tactical move, but elegant move, simple move. Let's see what Billy plays now. Attacks the queen, trying to deflect it. So if you move the queen now, you lose the rook, or if you take the pawn. So taking the pawn doesn't make any sense. Black didn't take that, and now he's putting the queen on a square from which she cannot help the defense of the king. So, and also he's stopping maybe some queen trades. Black eventually could have tried by putting the queen here. And he's simply playing positional chess here in a way that he thinks about the geometry here. So the queen now retreats and has to go here, the only square for the queen, because she must protect the rook still, because the rook is on fire. And what has Billy achieved here? He just pushed the queen in the corner. Black's queen is in the corner now, and Billy now has a time for another beautiful move, another winning move, another engine move, the best move here in the position, and even more elegant move. Now let's take a look at this move. You can pause the video if you like and try to find it on your own. There is a winning move here, and after this move Black cannot stop checkmate. The only way to stop checkmate is to lose the rook. So the move white played in this game, bishop to h6. Beautiful move. And this is why I'm showing you this game. A beautiful finish, because what can you do now with black? How can you defend this position? You cannot do anything, because taking the rook doesn't make any sense, and it is what happened in the game. And you will see why it doesn't make any sense, because white hasn't replied for that. So taking the rook is bad. Taking the bishop is even worse, because now simply losing a rook for black. So in this position, everything black does will result in material loss or checkmate. And black took the rook because that was all he could do. And now white plays such a simple move. Queen to g5, threatening checkmate. And here black is up material. Black is up a rook, but black cannot stop the winning ideas white has. The only way to stop checkmate is to take and give check, and afterwards white retakes, and let's look at this position. The queen is in the corner, that was the whole point, and the queen cannot give any checks to the white king. And what happens is this: white simply takes the bishop and white wins. Okay, there is no checkmate, but this is completely winning for white. In the game, this didn't happen. Anumakaar didn't saw this possibility. Rather, Anumakaar thought that he can run away this way. But this finishes right here on the spot. I'm sure you all see the move white made here and finished the game. A beautiful move, checkmate with the queen, and the game is over. So congratulations, Billy, again for this phenomenal finish, for a phenomenal game, such an elegant position in the end. And I hope you guys like this game and you learned something from it. I also hope you will send me your own games so I can comment on them just like I commented on this one. That will be all for now. See you guys later. Bye.